Hello, welcome to Ask Barry V show. My name is Barry Vanover. This is Miles Baker. We've got a great show today for you guys, and our show is sponsored by a great company that specializes in handling small businesses' Google AdWords campaigns and SEO for websites. They were voted one of the fastest 500 growing companies in the United States. The name of the company is Logical Positions, and if you call John Hendrickson at Logical Positions, and you can see their information here on the screen, just give them a call. So if you've got a website, which all of you do, you're wanting a good placement with Google Ads, they're actually called a premier partner with Google, and I don't understand exactly what that means, but they can get things done and make things happen on Google more than other companies can, or that you can on your own for sure. And their pricing is modest. We use them at our local schools here in Tennessee, and they also work on SEO. So if I'm going to get somebody to give me advice on SEO for a website, right? I mean, there's a lot of us have to study it, know a little bit about it to help school owners. But if I'm going to get advice for SEO, I'm going to go to a company that's all they do, and that's how they make their money, and that's their expertise. So again, call John Hendrickson at Logical Positions if you're just interested in that service. Okay, so let's get started with some of our questions.
Okay, got some great questions this week. First one I have for you here is by Gary C. He asked, do you have bonus incentive systems for your staff, and if so, could you explain?
Yeah, absolutely. We have bonus incentive systems for our staff members. But more importantly, I've got to remind you that money doesn't motivate people to do a good job, okay? Money motivates people that already want to do a good job. So you can take a guy that's not doing a good job, he's not motivated, he's not excited, you can throw all the money in the world at him. But if he doesn't have a good work ethic, if he doesn't have professional detailed skills, that bonus is not going to motivate him to become someone he's not. Again, bonus incentives is to reward the already professional, motivated staff members that's helping you take your business to the next level. I always use the analogy, it's like you're getting your car washed and your car comes out and there's two guys drying off your car, right? Getting all the spots off. One guy on one side, man, this dude is not missing a spot. He's looking down the side of the car. He's polishing. He's getting the wheels perfectly. The other guy is just haphazardly wiping, talking to somebody else, not paying any attention. Both of these guys are making the same amount of money. But why is the one guy doing such an extremely good job? Because he wants to do a good job for the sake of doing a good job. That's the guy that the incentive plan will work for. The other guy doesn't make any difference. It's just not in his character to want to do that kind of details and that kind of job. Now, that said, we use what's called a performance-based bonus system for our staff members. And I can go through a little bit of the highlights to this, but performance-based bonus system simply means that in a specific job description, however they make me money, they make the company, the school money, I'm going to use that as the gauge of their bonus. For example, let's talk about an instructor. Now, we only bonus full-time employees. We don't bonus part-time employees, hourly employees. And if you've got more than one full-time important instructor, you maybe pull that money together and let them split it. But basically, when you look at a position of an instructor, their job is to teach awesome martial arts classes, keep up with the curriculum, build rapport, help motivate and pre-frame upgrades. They're all about the classroom and all about the students. Well, what part of the income of your school is directly proportional to the classroom floor, and that is your tuition billing, right? So what we do is we bonus our instructors a certain percentage of our monthly tuition billing, which is all of your students' monthly tuition payments. And depend on how big your tuition billing is, how many staff members you're going to split this with. Sometimes just 3%, 2%, 2.5%, whatever is a pretty good bonus, right? $600, $700, $800. And then, of course, if you're dividing that up against other instructors that are full-time that are also important. Let's look at your program director, which is another important position in the school. Program directors, they make us money by selling memberships and collecting down payments and paid in fulls on those memberships. And they make us money by upgrading our students to higher level training programs and conducting those upgrade conferences. and also collecting the down payments and paid in fulls. So we bonus our program directors on a percentage of all the down payments they collect and all the paid in fulls that they collect. The more money they make us, the more money that they can make. Now, the next level of a person would be a manager. This would be a manager that is kind of P&L responsible. The owner is not having to oversee everything. The manager's really overseeing a location. This is probably a manager that is a manager of an owner that owns multiple locations. In that instance, a manager, we're probably going to bonus that manager on a percentage of profit, of net profit, not gross revenue, but profit after the manager's salaries and all everybody else's salaries has been paid and all the expenses of the schools. What's that net, that profit at the end of the month? We're going to bonus them on that, a certain percentage. And that percentage can be, whatever you want it to be. It can be 25%, can be 10%, whatever you feel that person needs to motivate them and to reward them. So those are the kind of the levels of bonus plans and incentives that we use. Now, there's a lot of other incentive plans I've heard, the number of students, total gross revenue, so many different ways, but that's just the ones that we found successful and the ones that we use.
Yeah, and to add to that, like you always say, a bonus is for above and beyond, right? So we're already paid, whether it's salary, hourly, but bonus is above and beyond. And but just kind of recap, so you're kind of looking at three different ways. Your instructor, oftentimes tied to the billing check, so that's about retention and keeping the classes rocking and rolling.
Yeah, the more students you have, the better the retention is. The longer you keep them, the more you upgrade them, the more money he makes.
So, instructors to billing check, then your program director to your in-house revenue because they're selling and upgrading and bringing money in today, and then of course your manager that is really overseeing everything and maybe a net profit type perspective.
Well, because it's important for the manager to be tied to the net, the actual profit, because he's managing the business, and we want to make sure that manager then is going to make sure that we don't have to hire anyone that we don't need. That everybody,
some crazy marketing that costs.
We do some. They don't want to do some crazy marketing that costs a lot of money because that comes out of their bonus. Yeah. Don't leave the lights on overnight. Make sure all the T-shirts and equipment's not getting stolen because that money comes right out of their bonus plan. If you bonus a manager on gross revenue, well then why wouldn't they want to hire extra people to help them do their job, make their life easier? It's not coming out of their pocket. Exactly. Why do they care if stuff gets stolen or they would want us to spend a lot of money on some kind of marketing that may not work. If it works, it's great for them. They're making more money. If it doesn't work, we spend a lot of money. It's not out of their pocket,
exactly. And the last thing I have to add to that is, like you were saying, back to the analogy of the two people washing a car. When you find that person that does a good job just for the sake of doing a good job, when one person mops that floor like their life depends on it, keep that person. Absolutely. Find a way to use them. Train them. We have systems in place we can train them, but that work ethic is really hard to teach, right? Some people just have it, some don't.
Right.
Keep those people. All right, nice. The next question, I wasn't sure. It was just too good not to ask, so I'll just bring it up. It is Frank T. asked, Mr. Vanover, being a McDojo school owner, do you ever fail students at your belt testings?
What?
So
McDojo school owner?
My favorite term, yeah.
Oh, I'm getting chills. All right. So Frank T., you must be the real deal school owner, okay? So I'm guessing that you have this amazing school in your garage or in some bad shopping center with 15 amazing students that are just top-notch martial artists. So let's change your name, Frank, to Real Deal T, okay, instead of Frank T. So here's my experience. I have been fortunate enough to travel the world to martial arts schools. I go for lots of different reasons. Many times it's to do a school evaluation where I go in for 3 days and I help a school owner. Couple things I've found. First, sometimes it's the real deal school owners that are asking me to come by. And the very first thing they'll say when I get there is, listen, I'll listen to you, but I don't want to turn my school into a McDojo, or I'm not going to sell out, or so forth. Well, what I notice in that situation is very few students. And you know what? Their students are no better than anybody else's that I see. When I go to the very successful martial arts schools with hundreds of students, I actually see just as good as students, Sure. Another thing I notice about students when I go to travel is you can almost bet that that you'll find in any school, 20% of the student body are above average. They're awesome martial artists. Doesn't matter if the guy has 500 or he has 10 students. 20% are amazing. Then you've got that core middle of students, right? So whatever that is, you got 60% of the students that are just as average as everybody else's students. Yep. And then everybody's got that last 10 or 15% of the students that can't chew gum and walk at the same time, right? They're just not physically there, right? So it's the same. The number of students you have, the amount of money you make, doesn't have anything to do with the quality of students that you produce, right? So with that, Mr. Real Deal T, your answer to your question, does my schools fail students on belt test? No, right? Now, I know you're like going right now, you're going, I knew it, right? But you know what? We don't let the students get to a belt test that we know is not going to pass, right? We actually do tests every single month. On a 3-month belt cycle, we do a test at the end of every month, and we fix things long before they have to show up and do a belt test, or we don't let them show up for the belt test and set them up for failure, okay? That's just like, I talked to a schooner not so long ago, and they were talking about, oh, I had to fail 3 people on my black belt test. 3 of them failed. Really? You know what? How did that student, he's been training with you for 4 or 5 years, and you're his instructor. At what point didn't you help him or her tell them that they need to do something different before you let them get in a situation that's going to scar them for life or hurt them and fail them? That's just not a good instructor and not a good system that would let a student get that far. Look, I'm a new father. I've got a 2-year-old boy, and I'll be honest with you, if I put my shoes in that position as a dad, my son's training at your school for 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever, it comes time for him to test for his brown belt or red belt or black belt or whatever, and you fail him, I would be the first one to go to that school owner and be like, dude, what? You never offered any help. You never asked us. You never told us what he needed to do, and you failed them. Yeah. So, are our standards high? Yes. But are we going to set up students for failure and hurt their confidence that we've worked so hard to build? Absolutely not. Think of your students as beginner, intermediate, advanced. White, yellow, orange belts, lots of love, lots of care, lots of attention. Not so much requirements on physical ability. We're earning their trust. Blue, purple, green belts, we're still lots of love, lots of care, earning their trust. But we require a little more from them physically now. And then your brown belts and above, if you've done that and helped them, your brown belts and above you can treat like it's boot camp. They respect you. It's like big brother love. You don't have to show it all the time. You don't have to tell them all the time. And when you get onto them, they actually know that you care for them is why you're getting onto them. And you create that over a period of time so that you don't run into these situations.
I agree 100%. And the term McDojo, I understand the term, and I think really it's just that the ethics or the quality of the program drops for the sacrifice of money. I mean, that's basically what
they're thinking or
means,
saying,
right?
For sure.
Unfortunately, it's just when they see people being successful in the martial arts industry, they can only assume that that's what's happening. And frankly, people just don't know. As systemized and professional as our industry is now, those two run parallel. Financial security and on that side with quality students and competitors and whatever your emphasis is for your school. So no longer are those things perpendicular. They are absolutely parallel. You can have both for sure. Nice. All right. Well, our next question is.
Oh, by the way, Frank T, don't come trying to find me. If you want to come beat me up, just give me a call. Tell me where you want to meet. I don't want anybody sneaking up and ninjaing around on me behind my back.
So our next question is about leads, and Amy P asked. She says she heard someone describe leads as qualified or unqualified. What does that mean exactly?
Qualified lead versus unqualified lead. Simply, you want to look at two criterias. How far away does the lead live to your school? You can go out and do marketing too far away that the family realistically won't travel consistently to your school. So therefore, that lead is kind of unqualified. And then also the income of the families or the income of the students, where those leads came from. If they came from, let's say you were at a promotional booth, and the promotional booth was at a elementary school in your neighborhood. These people are middle class to upper middle class, and you're at a fall festival. Those are qualified, extremely qualified leads. But let's say you did school talks, 7-8 miles away at an elementary school that's in a lower income area. those are unqualified leads. You don't expect the kind of sign up percentages. Doesn't mean we don't go. Doesn't mean we don't try to sign them up. It just means be realistic about the people that we're dealing with. You know, a lot of school owners will think that the type of marketing is whether the lead is qualified or not. And just because it's at a promotional booth doesn't mean it's an unqualified lead at all. Just because it came from a birthday party. You know, your internet leads that come from the internet, some of those are extremely unqualified. And school owners I talk to, yes, they get a lot of leads, but they have trouble reaching those people sometimes, right? So just because it came from a website doesn't make it a better lead than from a promotional booth or a birthday party or a rack card or any other type of marketing, you know?
I think that's perfect. Like you said, it's proximity and income level. And then when you're looking at what kind of marketing you're doing, like booths, for example, sometimes we're trying to make the decision to go to a booth that some sort of event that may draw from all over, not just our area. So we know there's a good percentage of people from our area that would be a qualified lead, but there may be a larger percentage that's non-qualified, especially like when we do booths in shopping centers or malls. Some of our clients will get into malls because it's a local mall, whereas some of the larger markets have more destination malls, and it really doesn't make sense for them to go there because these people in the malls are just from all over the place.
Right.
So understanding not only what qualified and unqualified leads are, but then, you know, using that knowledge just to decide what kind of marketing is right for you.
Right, and when you're doing a lot of marketing, I kind of think what you're saying, when you're doing a lot of marketing, you got to kind of pick and choose where you go, where your staff has to spend time. You know, now if you haven't had any good marketing or you're really low on leads, then do some of those unqualified events that you know, but just expect less from that event, you know.
Agreed. Our next question and final question for this week, Yvette C. asked, we just finally received flyer approval from our local elementary schools. What is the first piece you would send out?
Well, the first piece I would send out into the elementary schools with the students. By the way, that's great, man. Flyer approval. Yeah. How do you target your specific market any more effectively and cheaply than getting flyer approval? Yeah. Okay. And I know that, for example, we've been helping people get flyer approval. You helped a gentleman in California get flyer approval for his school system and schools in New York through our Premier Kids Foundation. Okay, which, by the way, any of our listeners, any of our school owner friends out there, Frank T., even you can belong to Premier Kids Foundation for absolutely free, and I can help you guys put that together because there are a lot of benefits of the nonprofit organization. Marketing benefits, sign-up benefits, lots of different benefits of having the status and access to a real nonprofit. So first thing I would find out with the school is really what the criteria they allow. You know, will they allow you to advertise monetary values? Meaning, can you advertise a 2-lesson trial program or a VIP special for $27 or $49? Well, maybe they don't allow any money on there. In our schools in Tennessee, we can get flyer approval, but it has to be a free community event. It has to be educational information. Anyway, no matter what, my first avenue of using my flyer approval would be to promote a mass intro, okay? Instead of putting out an advertisement with a low call to action and waiting on people to call me, I want to put out an event that gets everybody excited, a free community event, Karate for Concentration workshop, right? Or bully proof seminar, whatever, that gets people excited that they feel like, wow, I need to go to this event or I may miss out on an opportunity. That's a strong call to action. They're going to receive a free uniform when they get there and they're going to break a real board in front of their parents and all, just our normal mass intro procedures. That's going to allow you the fastest, most effective way to sign up a good number of students from that one opportunity of flyer approval.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, if it's one school, mothers talk, hey, are you going to take your child to this event? I think I'll take my child. So I think absolutely when you customize it and it's for that school and one event where the family can come together is the best way to go for sure.
And if you got flyer approval through a nonprofit, well, that right there tells you that they're probably not wanting you to promote monetary values or wanting you to promote your business in a monetary way.
It's about community service.
Right.
Sure.
It's more like community service, yeah.
Awesome. That is it for this week.
All right. I want to go over real quick our martialartsmarketing.com sponsored marketing tip of the week is Halloween cards, Halloween marketing materials. As a matter of fact, at martialartsmarketing.com, until October 15th, you can get 25% off of any printed marketing material piece for Halloween, okay, by using the coupon code BOO, B-O-O. All right, and what I want to show you is a common piece that we use is a 4x6 card this size. And on the screen, I'm sure you're seeing a Halloween card. On one side of the Halloween card, we're going to use Halloween safety tips. Now, we're going to use this hopefully for flyer approval and get these disseminated in the public schools. And those Halloween safety tips, like you're saying, those educational pieces, that's what's allowing us to help get that flyer approval. And on the other side, we are going to do a scary special, like maybe 2 private one-on-one lessons and a free martial arts uniform for $27. So we're going to take a chance because we're giving them the Halloween safety tips that they, on the other side, they let that little ad slip through. These cards are also great to have at your promotional booths this time of year, to take around to all of the Halloween party stores that pop up everywhere, to get them to hand them out or put them in purchase bags or leave them laying around on the counters. So there's a lot of, and more importantly than anything, is giving every one of your kids at school, your students, 25 of these wrapped up in a bundle to take and give out to their classes, okay, for Halloween. Also giving these cards out for trick-or-treating events. There's different companies and organizations out there, like our zoo is having Boo at the Zoo, getting people to hand these out to trick-or-treaters, giving them to your mothers, giving stacks to your mothers and let them put these cards in trick-or-treat bags as the kids from the different neighborhoods come around to your family's houses, getting these cards out. So we always get a decent number of people signing up from these cards, and these cards are so cheap anyway, but now at martialartsmarketing.com, you get 25% off of these, all right? All right, guys, that's our show for today. Real deal Frank T. I'm just joking. I love you. Give me a call. Okay, I'll help you any way I can. All right?